Hi, true avatars, and welcome to your weekly queer video game podcast. So perfect timing. For anyone watching on the video or listening on the audio version, as soon as I started doing my opening spiel, Gayme's cat walked right across the screen.
He just really wants to be in the spotlight.
Welcome to your catty video game podcast. This is episode 64, and I'm your host, Zoe Wild. I'm a transgender and bisexual, and my pronouns are she, her. This week, I'm joined by Gayme. Gayme is a pansexual woman and streamer of games, cooking, and book club. Gayme's pronouns are she, her. Gayme, how are you?
I'm good. I'm hopefully not getting sick from the just cold weather. So I might occasionally be a little sniffly. Gonna try to hold back, but otherwise I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, how dare you? Don't sniffle on my podcast. This is a sniffle free. We don't want to give people, get people sick through the airwaves.
Yeah. By transference.
Well, that's good. We're going to have kind of a cozier episode. We're going to be talking about the Gayme Awards this week. There's been a whole bunch of different kind of Gayme Awards in terms of different shows and stuff like that, but we're talking about the Jeff Keighley Gayme Awards proper, the 2025 ones. And obviously it's mostly game advertisements, as I'm sure anyone who actually watched the show will be aware, or anyone who's ever watched the show in previous years. It did not change. They dumped multiple awards in a batch and then be like, all right, here's 200 trailers. Enjoy, for games that are probably never going to come out. Anyway, there has been a bunch of news this month. Not a ton, but enough to fill probably one episode. So I'm going to be back at the beginning of January, either with a guest or just by myself, to kind of do a catch up on December stuff, because after this week, we're going to be doing the year in review, or the queer in review. And then the week after that, the week of New Year's, I think, that episode will release. So we'll do a look ahead to 2026. Wow, it's almost 2026. In my brain, 2026 is a year that would never come. I can't explain it, but anyway. I will say, though, that the Gayme Awards were considerably homosexual this year, and the barrage of trailers were significantly less homosexual, but the awards themselves were pretty gay. So, before we jump into all that, I do have a few quick favors to ask of you, true avatars. If you like this podcast, please leave a comment, rating, or review on your preferred podcast platform. Spotify has ratings and comments, while Apple has reviews. Engagement like comments, ratings, and reviews helps to grow the podcast. And a growing podcast means a happy podcast host who is forever happy and fulfilled that you enjoy listening to her ramblings, which creates an infinite feedback loop of more podcast episodes and more happiness and more podcast episodes in that loop. And actually, episode 62 did really well, and that warmed my cold, dead heart. So thank you very much. So please go leave a comment, rating, or review. And we did get some nice comments, actually, in the last few episodes, too. So, and if you are watching the video version on YouTube, please like this episode, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so you're the first to know when a brand new episode drops. Gayme is pointing down at the comment section. Please do the thing.
Emphatically.
Also, please follow True Avatars, a queer video game podcast, on social media. Their accounts on Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Facebook, and TikTok. I know the TikTok content is coming someday, probably in 2028 at this point. But at True Avatars is the handle. And you can also find that podcast on the official website, trueavatarspodcast.com. No spaces. And remember, this is a weekly queer video game podcast, so please check in every week. I'm going to bring you news, interviews, and up-to-date discussions that are relevant to queer gamers, so you have a safe space to check in on the world of gaming from a 2SL LGBTQIA+ lens. Again, why I say the acronym, why I say queer and not the acronym every time. Alright, Gayme, since there's no news or any shenanigans with the usual format, we're just going to jump right into the Gayme Awards stuff. So,
sounds good.
Should we jump into the biggest piece of news that I think is so anyone who didn't watch the Gayme Awards, we're just going to kind of if you haven't watched it and you don't want spoilers, obviously this is your last chance to tap out. But it's pretty much all over social media now that Clair Obscur basically cleaned up at the Gayme Awards. So Clair Obscur won Best Game, it won Game of the Year. I think it broke the record for most wins ever for any game.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's 9 wins, by the way. So I think it was nominated in 13 categories and it won 9. And to be honest, I thought it was going to get 12 out of 13 of those. But it ended up getting 9. So I'm a little more at peace with it losing a few of those awards, because it really, it won almost every category it was in. For a kind of Game of the Year category, it always won. But anyway, the most exciting thing for me, though, and I'm sure this is the most exciting thing for you, and it's definitely the most relevant to the brand of the podcast, is that Jennifer English, who is queer, won Best performance. I almost said best actress, but the actual category is best performance.
Yep.
For Clair Obscur.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if they even mentioned her character's name, but I'm sure you know.
Oh, Mael. Yeah.
Mael. Okay, so yeah, so and she looked genuinely shocked that she won too, because when they called her name, she was kind of like talking to like I think her girlfriend. And they were just like, and her girlfriend's like, you won, like shaking her, and Ben Starr's behind her like, you won.
Yeah.
It was like really, really cute.
So sweet.
That was kind of going viral.
Yeah. Also, total side note, I absolutely loved Ben's makeup. Oh my, and I think he had like his nails painted too. It was, he looked great. I was so happy.
Do we know if Ben Starr is some flavor of queer?
I don't know. I want to say I don't think so, but I just think he's just open with like how he wants to dress. So
that's great. Yeah, we love it. We love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
He's bringing back the metrosexuality thing from like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Which was like basically like if you're a straight man who likes to dress slightly nicer than the average straight dude with his pants down, you're metrosexual now. Has nothing to do with sexuality at all. You're just dressing slightly nicer.
Yep.
What I did think was funny, actually, and I didn't realize this because I didn't actually go back when we found out that Jennifer English was gay, or at least queer, what other games she had done. And people were kind of it was kind of like a crap post. I'm using the nicer version of the word, but apparently, like the last, 3 out of 4 Game Awards, she was in, Game of the Years from the Game Awards, she was in. So Elden Ring, she was in. Clair Obscur, and I forget the other one. Oh, Baldur's Gate 3.
She's Shadowheart. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So people were like, well, if you want to win Game of the Year, I guess hire this actress.
She's very talented.
Yeah, she is. And that means that also we've been trying to justify all year Elden Ring being a queer game. I guess it is by definition of Jennifer English being in it. So
yeah, I think she's in another game coming out too. She's probably got like a million projects on the go, but I think she's in another RPG, I think, coming out. I don't remember the name of it, though.
Well, yeah, I imagine she's probably in a lot, like voice actors, especially, because I don't know if she did any mocap, but I know that when you're a voice actor, you're in the studio for a couple hours, you're into the next studio for a couple hours. Yep. If you're booking work, you're booking a lot of it, so.
Yep. And I think also for those who, maybe didn't see the Game Awards, the other thing that was kind of cute was that the devs and some of I think it was maybe all just devs. It might have been some voice actors, but it was the devs for Clair Obscur, Sandfall. They all dressed, in, black and white striped shirts with like overalls and berets, red berets, which is the outfit, of the mimes that you like face off in the game. And you can also, because you fight the mimes, you then get those costumes for your characters. So it was just like a little like, hey, we're gonna represent the game. I just thought it was super cute. When they all won, for Game of the Year, it was so cute. They all just like got up and they kind of did like a group hug kind of thing. And it was just like a sea of red and black and white for all their costumes. But yeah, it was really sweet. I thought it was, I was happy that they won. Like so many awards, I was unsurprised. I literally sat down to watch the Game Awards and I was like, if Clair Obscur doesn't win at least like 5 awards, I will be shocked. Like honest to goodness. And really the main ones that I wanted them to win for, other than I was really hoping for Game of the Year, but there's other games up against them that I was like, they're also, I've heard really, really excellent. So if Clair Obscur doesn't win, great. They go to the other ones. But I just really wanted them to win best score because the score is something that stood out, especially, when I was playing the game. Like, it's one of those things where, for anyone who's playing the game, I'm sure they know the specific song that I'm thinking of for a boss fight because there's one that really stands out amongst the other ones. But, there were multiple times where I sat down, and it's a turn-based game, so you can take your turn, there's no time limit, and then you go through and then the enemy attacks. So you have like a breather if you're on your character and you're picking your actions. So when it was on my turn and I would hear the music and I would just sit down at my couch and be like, I just need to hear this whole song. Like, this is really nice. And the one I'm especially thinking of is a very epic one, which is, I think it actually is the one they performed at the Game Awards, actually, which is my favorite. Surprise, surprise. So anyway, yeah, I'm very happy that they won. And Jennifer English's, acceptance speech was really nice. Like she thanked her girlfriend when she got up, and she just had some really nice little sentiments, and it was like short and sweet, but it was just really nice that came across. And yeah, anyway, very happy that they won.
Yeah, no, speaking of Jennifer English's speech, actually, I did note a couple things from it. I know it's been going viral that she kind of did a shout out to neurodivergent people.
Yes.
But also she did say that like, it takes a village, and my brain immediately went to like, cause I think she said that kind of right after she mentioned her girlfriend. And I was like, yeah, a gay village. But yeah, she did thanks to my beautiful girlfriend is what she said. Which I think that's something probably half the audience needed to hear, especially after the, we're going to get to this later, but the Hogwarts, like the Harry Potter stuff that came up at the Gayme Awards. I think that whole audience needed to hear something a little more woke than they're used to. And I think as far as wokeness goes, like, I don't think a girl having a girlfriend is really that shocking or woke, to be honest. Like
No.
Until last year, I thought it was pretty normal at that point. And then she did finish up the speech saying, for those who come after, which I think is also, is that a quote from the game as well?
It is, yes. Yeah.
So I thought that was really nice too.
Yeah.
It did seem very queer coded, even if that was not her direct intention. Was it just a general speech for like gamers and game developers? But it did feel like she was also speaking like with a little wink to the queer community. And I think it's very nice to see someone go up there and win. And also she was up against Erika Ishii. Like there were two queer actors that were up for like best performance, and like, whoever won, like, we were all winning. Like, I mean, there were so many queer games up in every category. Like, it was up against Hades 2. It was up against Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. In a lot of cases, like, there were a lot of games that were up that qualified by our rubric for as a queer game. And so, seeing it, like, we were never gonna, like, I think all these queer games always had a chance, even if Clair Obscur was not gonna win. So I think we were always gonna be eating good, but I'm just so happy that there was good representation at the awards.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of speeches too, I do want to ask you about this because I don't know as much about the content as you do. But in their acceptance speech for Game of the Year for Clair Obscur, I want to say the game's lead director. I can't remember their title, but
I don't know, but I think his name's Gayme. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds correct. This person got up though and basically dropped DLC in the acceptance speech.
Yeah. Free DLC.
Can you speak to a little bit about free DLC? Can you speak to a little bit about like what the content is and if like it's something you're going to be playing?
Yeah. So the main like the biggest bit of the content that's new is something called Versus Drafts. I have not gone and played these yet. I know you can. But it seems to be kind of like a little extra location area that you can take your party to go through. It might be a bit of a, you do a bunch of different fights. I believe there is also a new, I guess you could call it a secret boss, cause the Versus Drafts is not like, obviously in the main story, it's a little extra place you can go to, but there is a final boss, which, apparently has a really cool fight sequence. I actually saw today, in Versus Drafts, I think at some point you're fighting against, these characters called Gestrels. They're a race of people who look like paintbrushes. They're like little paintbrush mannequin people.
That's so cute.
They're so
Are they
cool.
as cute as they sound?
There's like, the little ones are super cute. I wouldn't say they're all cute, cause they're all kind of like, I don't know, they're all like different body types, and they're really cool, but the little ones are like super cute because they're like the tiniest little guys. And it's cool too.
I'm just wondering if I should be looking out for a plushie.
Oh, yeah, you'd probably, I mean, I want a plushie of, Noko, who is one of the small guys. Yeah, they're super cute. But yeah, you fight against, the Gestrels. They're an enemy you can fight in the main game too. Their whole, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Their whole thing with the Gestrels, like their whole, like, mode of thought, their drive is that they just want to fight, but they fight for like honor and fun, and they're like, yeah, you're a worthy adversary, huh? that kind of thing. They're like a big warrior race, but they're just paintbrush people, so it's kind of funny. In Versus Drafts, when you fight some, I think that Sandfall put in a new, animation for likes one of their moves, and one of the moves that I saw is this Gestrel who prepares to whack you, then summons a paintbrush or something above them, then, like, you know, makes ready to attack, then spins a bunch of times. So then, like, you're trying to be like, when is he gonna hit me? Cause you're trying to parry, right? So I think it's a good, like, 10 seconds before he actually hits you, and you don't know when it's coming. So I'm like, oh, that's mean. I love you, Sandfall. That's mean.
Now, I do have a question, I guess, cause I feel like maybe other people, now, does that new animation apply to the paintbrush people, the Gestrels, in the base game as well, or is it just in this new area versus drafts?
I think it's just in the new area, because I haven't seen it in the main game. Now, it's entirely possible that I just never saw it, but I think I fought enough Gestrels that I would have seen it. So yeah, I think it's new. And yeah, you just kind of go through, you can get new costumes for your characters. I have seen some spoilers. They probably actually revealed it at the Game Awards. I just had to watch a video after about it, but, there's a couple costumes you can get, and one of the costumes actually changes how the movement character of how your character runs if you wear that costume, and it's because of the costume, like it's a reference to another character, which is pretty funny. Yeah, other than that, I think they've just done some, like, you know, light patch stuff, bug fixes, and made things look a little nicer. Yeah, I think versus drafts is like the main bit. So I'm excited to go play that at some point when I have time.
Well, I actually opened up, I checked my own show notes, and I opened up the Steam page where they did go over the 1.5 patch notes. They added a photo mode.
Yes.
And they also,
right.
There's new game localizations, bringing the number of languages the game supports up to 19, including Czech, Ukrainian, Latin American Spanish, Turkish, Vietnamese, Thai, and Indonesian. I'm trying to say that correctly without stumbling over my words. But there's a whole bunch of, accessibility things, bug fixes. The game is now certified on Steam Deck and ROG Xbox Ally, which is nice. I think I was rating too that, like, maybe the Steam Deck stuff is still not as amazing as it should be, but it's still better than before. I have it on PS5, so whenever I get around to playing it, I think you can probably see here, it's sitting up there, my copy. I would have played it sooner if I'd known it was queer, but I think we talked about this a couple episodes ago, but I literally just didn't know, and I was like,
I didn't know either.
Games and moving and new things, so I just didn't end up playing it this year, but yeah, and there's another RPG I'm supposed to be playing over the break anyway, so I don't know if I'm going to get around to Clair Obscur, but I'm glad to know that, like, this game is, like, I was always interested in playing it, I just never got around to it. But yeah, so I think there weren't too many other queer winners aside from Clair Obscur, but there was a couple, so just go over those super quick. So for Best Community Support, Baldur's Gate 3 won. And I think that's going to be the last year it ever gets nominated because they have stopped updating the game. I think they've completely moved on from it. Yeah. And they did reveal their next game anyway, so it makes sense.
Divinity game.
We'll get to that later. Yeah. Let's see, what else here? Best Action Game. Okay, this is the only time I think Clair Obscur didn't win, and I'm not sure. I don't think it was up for Best Action Game, but Hades 2 won Best Action Game.
Yeah, that was nice to hear. Yeah.
Depending on if you count this or not, Birdo and Yoshi are in the game, so I qualify Mario Kart World as a queer game, but Mario Kart World won Best Sports Racing, which I disagree with. I don't even think Kirby Air Riders was up for it, but... No.
I was actually... Yeah, I was kind of surprised, because I thought maybe Sonic Crossworlds would have been... Like, I've heard that that's a really fun game, like Sonic, so I don't know.
Well, Jeff Keighley has, like, a really big hate... I'm trying not to be sexual about this, but he really hates Nintendo. Like, I got the sense that he really doesn't like Nintendo. Like, Nintendo, whenever Nintendo's up for something, like, there's the Nintendo category, which is literally Best Family Game. And I think Donkey Kong Bonanza won that. And they threw that literally in the pre-show. Like, that wasn't even part of the main show, but I thought Sonic Racing Crossworlds would have won, just because, like, it was very popular to be like, well, at least this is the proper kart racing game we all wanted this year. Like, it was cool to, like, hate on Mario Kart World for that, with all the controversy. But I just realized Kirby Air Riders was not even nominated because it missed the cutoff by, like, a week, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, which is its own problem for the show. I think the show should be in February, like the Oscars.
Fair enough.
That way, like, games get that released before. Because, like, even if the cutoff was, like, mid-December, like, most games are out by, like, today. Like, we're recording on December 14th. Like, I don't think there's too many games coming out this week that aren't already out. Like, I know there's a physical of Yooka-Replay coming out. That's, like, the big release for this week, but I don't think there's too much that, like,
Yeah,
Like if you cut off, anyway, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I feel like it's rare to hear about a game coming out unless it's an indie game, in which case like schedule doesn't, it's not like a AAA like, oh, we're gonna schedule this so it doesn't, run into this other, like run up against this other big game. But I feel like a lot of games that are like highly anticipated are often coming out either around the holiday time or, some, like I think earliest of the new year, it would be like March. In some cases it's January, but like February seems to be a weird, like, I don't think I've heard of any games coming out like around then. But it also
plus with the Oscars.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Plus, yeah.
With the Oscars too, like it's January 1st to December 21st, I think. Like there is a week window where something doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
If it doesn't get into a mainstream theater. But even if like you had the Game Awards in February, right? Like you still have that cutoff to like mid-December, or you can even have it like cut off mid-December and have them in early January. I know people aren't as like, I think the reason it's in December is because Jeff Keighley wants to capitalize on the show being an advertisement for like Christmas shopping and stuff. So, kids are watching the Game Awards. They go, Mom, look, they advertised the Donkey Kong game or it won the award. And then parent goes and buys the game for Christmas.
Right.
Which you don't get if it's in February, but with the Oscars, they're not trying to sell Blu-rays or whatever, right? They never were. It was always just kind of about like, ego stroking, so to speak. But, anyway, the other, queer thing that won, because there were two queer movies or queer like adaptations up for best adaptation. There was Until Dawn and The Last of Us season 2. And I think the Minecraft movie was up. That's not queer, but I thought the Minecraft movie was going to win just because it's like, it would be a meme for like, getting younger kids watching the like, oh, like I want to be excited about the Game Awards because they gave the Minecraft movie something. Yeah. But The Last of Us season 2 actually won, which is nice because The Last of Us season 2 is actually, I say the show is probably equally as gay as the first season, but the game that it's based on is much gayer than the first game, in my opinion. So it was nice to see it win, especially since the ending was very controversial. You've watched season 1, right?
Yes, I haven't. Yes, I haven't watched season 2, nor have I played the second game yet. But I played the first game and I've watched season 1.
Well, you got to get on that because season 2.
I know. I literally, Aries and I were talking.
Really good.
Yeah, Aries and I were talking about it because I think probably because we saw Last of Us part 2 at first. Like it was mentioned at the Game Awards, and Aries just looked at me and he's like, "Oh yeah, we haven't watched season 2 yet." I'm like, "Yeah," and he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, because you haven't played the second game." I'm like, "I know, I'm getting there."
That impression of Aries was perfect. Was on point. That is exactly how he would look and say that too. About anything. That is perfect. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you. You live with someone for, 5+ years, you'd hope.
Yeah, you start to mirror each other, even if unintentionally.
Yeah.
My mom will start saying stuff the way my dad says it, and I'm like, whoa, that is... okay.
Yep.
But that's pretty much it. The other queer games that were up for awards didn't win anything. But there were, again, a lot of nominations, so a lot of attention. The only really thing that really bothered me about kind of any phobia was that Hogwarts Legacy was given out as the Epic Games free game.
Yeah.
And Jeff Keighley really hyped it up with a tie-in thing for a free chocolate frog thing that you get for Fortnite, I think.
Silly. Yeah.
And it was weird too because people didn't really clap for the free game, but when they brought up the chocolate frog thing, I did hear a few people in the audience get kind of excited. But what I like about the Game Awards is they keep the crowd really hot the whole time. So that, cause I think he wants people to but when a game is mid or people are not cool on a game or it's not exciting, you can kind of hear the crowd go, yeah, with some clapping. For Hogwarts Legacy, I did hear it was much quieter, which was heartwarming to me because F J.K. Rowling. I'm just going to say that on the podcast. If she wants to sue me, I'm here in Canada. She can bite me. I would say something much meaner if this was a less family-friendly podcast. But anyway, that was really the only thing that I was kind of I was actually disappointed by the fact that there were a few people that were really excited about that. But I do think there was significantly more cheering for Jennifer English than there was for Hogwarts Legacy. So I'm going to count that as a win. And there was actually other stuff. I'm going to skip ahead in the notes a little bit because I do want to talk about the Girls Make Games, which was the This is never a nomination like category, but it's always like, I forget what the category is called actually. Let me see here if I wrote it down.
Oh, it's something for, I forget.
Game Changer Award.
For Impact, right? Or something? Yeah.
No, Games for Impact is the Woke Award.
Sorry.
That's like all the woke games go to one category. And this year it was South of Midnight that won.
Oh, that was nice to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. And there were queer games in that category too. But that's like these games were like not award bait, I want to say, but like these games are the ones that are like being woke. So we have to give a category. They don't fit into other categories, and we don't like these games, but we need to put them somewhere to acknowledge that they exist, or people are going to get upset with us. That's the vibe I get from the Games for Impact Award. It's very diplomatically worded, but it still doesn't sit right with me. Like that these games aren't up for GOTY or whatever, but the Game Changer Award, though, is one they don't list the nominees for. They reveal the winner every year, and they just say like, excuse me. Well, they just kind of say something like, okay, this is the charity that like, or this is the person that did like really great work this year. And this year was Girls Make Games, which is again like a charity, an organization to help get girls into game development in a very male-dominated field. And I wasn't sure if it was a queer inclusive organization. I had to do some digging for this because I was like, well, gay girls, they probably accept because it's much easier to like be stealth when you apply for that kind of thing. If you're a girl in that category, like it's a little easier to hide that potentially. Not always, obviously. Like some girls do look as flaming as you might expect, but other girls, you know, are like, anyway, more straight passing looking. Anyway, we're not going to get into the politics of that because it doesn't matter. It's just easier to like be a lesbian and hide things than if you're like an out trans woman or a trans girl that wants to apply for these. But I did go do some digging, and in 2022 on LinkedIn, someone asked if they could apply for Girls Make Games for one of their things that they were doing. And on LinkedIn, it did say like, do you include someone asked, do you include trans girls? Can trans girls apply? And the Girls Make Games page did reply, yes. Excitedly.
Awesome. That's good.
So they do include trans girls in this. Again, I don't know if 2025 that has changed. I did search their website for a policy on queer inclusion, and there was absolutely nothing, which can either be a good sign or a bad sign. But given the way things are right now online in the US, which is where Girls Make Games is based.
Yeah.
So, sometimes
I would hope so. I feel like, I mean, 2022 wasn't that long ago. Like and for it being a charity of, you know, just supporting girls and in the game industry and gaming and stuff, like I want to believe that I don't think they would change their minds about anything. And I do think that not mentioning it online is on their website is definitely a like safety measure right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think if it was hateful, they would have a policy saying like, we don't accept trans girls. Cause like there's a lot of stuff in the US that's doing that right now. So, I just had to dig for it. Cause like, I just wanted to see if they had any kind of policy on it. Cause I didn't want to like get on the podcast and say this really great charity won the Game Changer Award, or this really great organization won, but also like, I don't know if they're queer inclusive. And I didn't want to like say, anyway, I didn't want to like kind of like crap on them if I couldn't confirm it. And I didn't want to also like, I didn't want to inadvertently crap on them by saying I don't know. So I'm glad I at least found that. But it did, honestly, I don't know if it's just Google search results, but it was really hard to kind of find that LinkedIn result. I know Google doesn't technically have traditional pages anymore, but I did have to scroll a bit, and I did have to like change my search terms quite a bit. I think that probably speaks more to Google than it does for Girls Make Games though. Cause Google now tailors your search results. And I know like when you search, a year ago, before AI really got deep into Google's algorithm, and they started rolling out a ton of stuff, it was really easy for me to search a game name or a game dev plus LGBT on Google and figure out like almost pretty definitively if like the game was like queer inclusive or had queer characters or queer devs or what have you. Like all the relevant search results were always at the top. Now it's really hard to dig for that stuff. I've noticed every time I go and do this, each time it becomes harder and harder and harder to find stuff. And even the AI preview that they give, which I hate using.
Oh, it's awful.
Like before, when it first came up, it was at least like, actually, yeah, we think there is some queer inclusion here. And now it's just like, no, probably not. We don't really, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about all the trailers because it really is a preview. It is an advertisement show. It's not an award show. But there was the Wholesome Direct, which I didn't get a chance to look at as in depth because I didn't find out about it till right before we kind of started recording. I did check one game though, and I will just I'm going out of order here a little bit, Ekami. I'm sorry for that.
Doing a lot.
Fishbowl, which is a game that's been in like every awards, every preview show for like the last couple of years, and it hasn't had a release date, hasn't really had a lot of new info, but Fishbowl now has a release date of April 2026, and it is coming to Steam and PS5, and I think the PS5 news is new. I'm not 100% sure though.
That's great. Good that it has a release date.
Yeah, not a specific day, but at least it's got a window, which is honestly pretty good, because I think before it was very up in the air about when it was coming. So, and then they also had right before the Gayme Awards, there was a Day of the Devs Gayme Awards tie-in show with a bunch of reveals, and there were 3 games here that were either from queer devs or are queer games. But and then jump in anytime here if you want to talk about this stuff. I can just kind of blow through it. But Day of the Devs had a game called Virtue and a Sledgehammer, which is coming from the devs that made Red Strings Club and Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood. They've partnered up with another game dev to make this game. And the premise is as follows, and this comes from the Steam page. Go back to your hometown and tear it down with a sledgehammer in this narrative exploration game. Confront your past in a devastating story about feeling like you no longer belong in the place you grew up. So the thing that's interesting about this, though, is that Red Strings Club and the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood are like, I think they're 2D games.
Yes, they are pixelated.
Yeah. And this is like a 3D, like it looks like kind of like N64 era, like graphics, intentionally so, but it is a 3D game that almost looks like they're kind of channeling the Donkey Kong Bonanza destructive energy. They said like their big focus for this game is like the destruction physics and making sure it feels good. But it does look like a very much like queer experience of like going back somewhere where you feel kind of unwelcome now. And things aren't kind of aren't the same as you remember, which is for me a very queer experience. When I go back to my hometown, and I mean we're from the same hometown, but I don't know about you, but when I go back there, I don't feel like I'm not unwelcome, but it definitely feels like a place I've moved on from.
Yeah, so. I agree. Yeah. I was also really interested in the look of the game being so different from their previous games. I have Red Strings Club, I just haven't played it, and I did play the demo for Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, and I quite liked it. I just don't have the full game. But it was cool to see them branching out into that kind of like 3D, kind of style of game, and I know that they were talking a lot about, like you were saying, they wanted to make, the game feel good, so they were really doing a lot of, analysis on, like, you know, when you would take your sledgehammer in the game and just try to destroy a building, what the physics would be, how everything would fall. So they were doing a lot of like cool research there. I would be interested to know about like, how the story kind of unfolds in terms of like confronting your past a little bit, because from the trailer, it looked like it was a very like, contemplative game. Like you're having, it looks like you're having these really like in-depth conversations with people and then also destroying buildings. So, I'm interested to see how it goes. And it just reminds me that I also need to sit down and play Red String Club. So
me too. Through doing this podcast, I've discovered many 3 hours later, many queer games.
Yep.
And I keep adding them to my wish list. In fact, in the last week, we were talking about this before we recorded, but like, there are a bunch of games I've been talking about this year. Like, they're supposed to come out this year. Don't know if they're going to. They don't have an exact release date, but they all every day I was getting emails saying like, this game is now available on Steam. This game is now available on Steam. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, no human, like I would have to have a team of people, like an IGN level team playing all these games to get like review these and talk about these. And if you're a dev and I've talked about your game, like, you're like, Zoe, why aren't you talking about my game? Like, there's no it's humanly impossible.
Yeah.
There's no chance I can talk about all these games. But anyway, I'm happy that all these games are releasing and they're making the release dates. And like, I do hope that there is like a little bit of queerness to, what's going on in Virtue and a Sledgehammer. And if there's not, at least I think it'll be queer coded. So because the devs, I think there is at least one queer dev that is on the team that made Red Strings Club and Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood. And those games are very queer in and of themselves too. So
cool.
A game that was actually like made available now during the actual Day of the Devs is this game called Dogpile. And I don't know if Dogpile itself is a queer game, but the devs who made it made another queer game called Gubbins. And let me look up here what Gubbins is specifically, because it was a little, it's like a word game.
Oh, okay.
But like, all the reviews are like there's like literally key art here that talks about bisexuality. There's so much rainbow art here. Someone described it as gay Scrabble in a review. It literally says gay Scrabble internet user on the page here.
That's great.
So with those vibes in mind and like the similar art style that Dogpile has, I was like, well, this game is probably at least queer adjacent, if not queer proper. Cause like who makes a Scrabble game and then makes it like gay if they're not gay devs, right? Like queer devs in some way. Anyway, Dogpile though. Dogpile is a roguelike deck builder about merging cute dogs into bigger dogs. What's that watermelon game where you merge the watermelons together? Or the fruit game where you like
Suika or something like that?
Suika game,
Yeah.
yes. I think Suika game is similar where you're trying to merge the different like things together.
Yeah.
When you get the two things similar, it becomes bigger. It's like a old style of game, but they make that style of game with dogs into cute dogs, and then it's now also a roguelike deck builder. I feel like every genre of game is getting a roguelike these days. I know there's actually a Scrabble game coming out. Not Scrabble proper, but it's a Scrabble-like game. That's a roguelike game that's coming out in February, I think, that I'm really excited for. Not queer, so I haven't really mentioned it on the podcast, but anyway. Play dogs, get money, customize your dogs with special traits, refine your deck, play more dogs. Dogs. That's the Steam description.
That's great.
It looks very cute. The trailer was full of like real life dogs. Like they were just on the couch. They were like Nintendo Direct, but with dogs.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was so good.
And Olive was also going kind of like off the wall too, because she could hear the dogs in the video.
Yeah.
So it was very cute. So, and it's available now. I don't think it's super expensive either. I think it was, and it's 30%. I don't know if this will be the case. I don't know how long the sale's on for. I don't know if it says, but right now it's 30% off. So it's normally $12 Canadian. It's on for $9 Canadian.
Nice.
So I have to assume it's probably in the ballpark of like $10 US and then probably $7 on sale. So not super expensive and really cute. Let me see if it's Steam Deck verified. I know you sickos like your Steam Decks like I do. Let me see. I don't see. Oh, Steam Deck compatibility is unknown at the moment, but this looks like the kind of game that if it came to Switch too, I'd be like really into it. So if it's popular enough, I feel like it'll get a Switch port. Any thoughts on Dogpile before we move on?
It looked cute. I don't know if it's necessarily my kind of game. I've played Suika and it was fun, but maybe not something that kept my interest super, super long, but the game looks very cute. I think it'll be very fun for people who are really into that kind of gameplay.
All right. The last game that is queer, I didn't actually know this franchise actually, because it's based on like a comic series, that I did not know was queer. But in Day of the Devs here, the last game that came up was called Moomin Troll, Winter's Warmth. And I didn't know this, but the Moomin author, the person who wrote the comics, Tove Jansson, was actually married to, like, partnered with a woman for for a lot of her life. I don't think she ever came out in a traditional sense. Like I couldn't find anything on any of her bios that said like she is a lesbian or she is queer or she is bisexual. Just that her partner was a woman, I think up until her death in, I want to say the early 2000s. And I guess I've been seeing a lot of Moomin stuff lately. I feel like there's been a bunch of Moomin games. Like maybe someone's in the family, or whoever owns the rights has just been opening up the license. But this comes from the Steam description. From the creators of Snufkin, Melody of Moomin Valley, comes a heartwarming new adventure inspired by the beloved Moomin stories by Tove Jansson. This time, join Moomin Troll himself on a charming but cold winter journey. And I don't know anything about Moomin. Moomin is popular in Scandinavia and Japan, I found out, which is why I've never heard of it as a Canadian. But I did see in the game's like trailer, or I heard that it's based on a specific story arc from the comics. Like it's a game expansion of like one of the colder stories from that series.
Oh, cute. Okay.
So,
nice.
And for anyone who doesn't know anything about Moomin, there is a demo available on Steam. So
nice. I really want to get into Moomin. I know a lot of friends who really like Moomin, and a lot of queer friends actually, especially quite like the Moomin stories and the games. So they seem really cute. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah. I don't think it's for me at the moment. Like I'm also not really too into Bluey. Like I appreciate like the style and the wholesomeness to it, but like not enough to really get into it. My go-to children's series that's wholesome for me is Thomas the Tank Engine, which is like very not queer in a lot of ways. But it's like, and it's made by a religious dude, and like the stories are very like, the morals are very like, work hard, don't be mean. Yep. You know, some of them are wholesome values, but some of them are also like very like capitalist and religious, but
right.
I just like the colorful trades, I guess. So,
and you do have a Gay Thomas toy, courtesy of me.
I do, yeah, Rainbow Thomas.
Rainbow
and actually,
Thomas.
there is a character that at one point was technically canonically gay. There's a character, for anyone who knows Thomas the Tank Engine, there's one called James the Red Engine. And he started off painted black, and he got this new, like, bright red coat of paint at one point in the stories. Like, it's literally a plot point in the books. And when Alec Baldwin came on to do one of the shows before he did the movie, he looked at the series creator who was directing the episode and said, "This character is gay, right?" And he performed, for that entire season, performed the character like he was gay. Like, there's like one line where he's like, "Oh, help!" Like, in the gayest way you could imagine. And he's always going on, this character is always going on about, like, looking nice and pulling the nicest trains and having a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
There's literally memes about, they've photoshopped the 80s model James, from the television show. Like the prop engine into Pride Parades.
Nice. I love it.
The subtitle says, like, or the caption says, like, "Look who's at the Pride Parade." And it's James there kind of looking kind of awkward. So anyway, all that is to say is that Thomas can be gay. There's gayness in trains for those who have eyes to see, kind of a crap post thing. So anyway. Yeah, Moomin Troll has a demo available on Steam. I don't know if there's a release date on this one, actually.
Not sure.
2026.
Okay.
So,
Release
sometime next year.
window. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the TGAs proper. Ekimi, you already mentioned Divinity.
Yes.
We don't know that this game is... Do you know anything about the original Sin games? Because this is technically Divinity Original Sin 3. But they're just calling it Divinity.
Yeah. I don't know anything about it. I know Divinity's, like, super, super popular as a series. I mean, so is Baldur's Gate, but I think Divinity is, like, their big one, comparatively.
Because that's the IP they actually own, whereas Baldur's Gate is licensed from Wizards of the Coast.
Wizards of the Coast, yeah. The trailer, kind of put me off, mostly because, like, it looks cool. It's just, like, I get kind of, like, squeamish and for, like, body horror, basically.
It was a cluster F, that whole friggin' trailer.
Yeah, so, it was cool in the sense of, like, the eerie, like, they got they got vibes they were going for, and they got those vibes. They like, immaculately, but it was definitely something that was, like, I mean, intentionally off-putting for what was all happening. I'll let people just, like, watch the trailer and they can see for themselves, but it
is not safe for work, so if you're not into, like, there's, like, there is stuff going on
I
in the
mentioned
trailer
body horror, there is, so.
Yeah, and there's some, like, also, like, sexual content.
There's some sexual content, too,
The Game Awards were very what's the word, like, programmed, I guess, is, like, they weren't very, like, there would be, like, kids games trailers, and then there would be, like, games with, like, nudity and stuff like that, or they would drop F-bombs throughout the show. And it seemed very much, like, not consistent, which I thought was strange, because I don't think I've heard that many F-bombs or seen that much sex on screen in a Game Awards before this.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that was a little odd, but yeah, I don't know anything else about Divinity. I'm sure people are very excited for it, though.
Yeah, I think it plays similarly-ish to Baldur's Gate 3, but not entirely the same, but if those vibes are like...
I want to say it's like what is that style of viewpoint? Like Diablo,
isometric, maybe?
I think that's how that is, because I had friends who played... If I'm entirely wrong, I apologize. I know I have friends who played Divinity 2 and they quite liked it, and I think that was the style.
Yeah, it looks like top-down isometric.
Yeah.
Based on the screenshots. It looks like there's a bit of a strategy element to it. But I have to imagine if they're going with the vibes that they gave to, like, Baldur's Gate 3, where Baldur's Gate 3 was a significant step up in gameplay style compared to the original Baldur's Gate games, right? Like, I
think so, yeah.
I actually wasn't into the trailer at first. I thought it was really weird until the body horror started, and I was like, yes, as a trans person. I think most trans people listening to the podcast are probably like, body horror, yes, like we drink that stuff up. But, like, at first I was like, oh, what is this generic medieval thing? Like, this is medieval slop game number 27 in this awards show. And then it just kept getting weirder and weirder, and I was like, what am I watching? And then I realized it was forming the statue that they put up a statue to tease the game in some desert in California, I think.
Yeah.
And then it formed, the body horror thing formed, and I was like, as soon as the body horror stuff started, I was like really into it, and then by the end of the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, I became like, oh, from the Baldur's Gate team? Sure, I'm into this. I don't know if I'm gonna like the style of gameplay that Divinity is, but from a content perspective, I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll let people go watch the trailer at their own risk, because it's very strange.
Yes.
To say the least. But next up was a really exciting, reveal. Again, there was no gameplay in it, but they are. Well, do you want to take this, Akemi? Like,
yes,
I'm
like jumping up and down.
Your cup of tea.
Yeah. So there is a new Old Republic, like Knights of the Old Republic style game, which is going to be coming out, called Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic. It's from the KOTOR director is coming back. So sadly I forget his name, but he is coming back for this game.
Casey Hudson.
Thank you, Casey Hudson. And this was really exciting because I feel like in the last few years we've gotten some interesting like people who are fans of Knights of the Old Republic have gotten some interesting reveals, and sometimes it's been kind of like, oh, like a lot of excitement, and then unfortunately something falls through. Like, I remember when KOTOR got the trailer, a trailer was released for the remake of Knights of the Old Republic, and it was just like a really nice cutscene of the main Sith in the first game, just like looking cool, and I was like, oh my god, so excited. I think that game, like that remake, fell through with Aspire, the developer, so then people were like, oh, bummer, like, oh well. But then when this got...
I think a new dev actually is remaking, it has picked up the pieces, but I'm not really sure what the status of it is.
Yes, so Aries was telling me that too, and I was like, oh, and that was something I just hadn't heard about. So I was very excited when, cause I think I said that when I was, like, when we were watching the Game Awards, and Aries, and I said like, oh, well, it's nice that this is coming out, cause the remake isn't, and he was like, oh no, like there's, like someone else picked it up, and I'm like, like I got really excited. Yeah, this one looks cool. The trailer, didn't reveal too much, but we do have a female character who looks a little bit like young Leia, in my opinion, but she kind of...
I thought she was Rey at first, honestly, in the
fair,
wides,
yeah,
the wide shots.
That's fair, yeah. And it's just this person who's like, you know, she lands her ship, she walks out into like so like a glowing cavern of some kind, ignites her lightsaber, and then it just has like the title come on. And it was just really exciting to hear that it was going to be, the KOTOR director coming back.
Who also worked on the Mass Effect trilogy, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Those
That's
games
cool.
are very, very gay games. So I'm hopeful that Fate of the Old Republic is going to have a little bit of that too.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the same style of gameplay as KOTOR. I imagine not. KOTOR, the original, and I think the second game, is kind of like a D&D-esque style, turn-based combat style, where when you attack, you're rolling a dice for a percentage. It auto-rolls your dice, but you roll to attack, and if sometimes you miss, sometimes you don't. And there's a bit of turn-based stuff involved when you're like selecting how you want to attack, and if you want to defend. So, I'd be interested to see if they do that with this new one, but, very open to how they, you know, how they're gonna do gameplay wise. I'm open to if they do the Final Fantasy thing where it's like active and maybe they just do away with the dice rolling thing. That's fine. But I really liked the first KOTOR, and I do have to play the second one at some point. So I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah. And people were upset. There was a rumor, there was a rumor about it not coming out until 2030 or later. I think even someone joked, I don't remember who said this. I didn't write it down, and I probably won't include it in the show notes because it's really neither here nor there, but someone said it might be a PlayStation 7 game. And I'm like, I don't even think we're not even at PlayStation 6 yet, right? That sounds far away, but Casey Hudson did get on Twitter and say, like, I'm not getting any younger. This is coming out before 2030.
Oh, good.
Didn't give an actual release date. Probably doesn't know for sure when, but it sounds like he doesn't want to spend forever on this. So maybe this one might be something that's a little more contained. Yeah. The budget might not be bloated. It might not be the scope might be a little bit more lower. And maybe they are going to do the dice rolling thing. Maybe that's quicker to develop than developing a brand new action combat system. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I know nothing about game development, but to hear that a director wants to get this thing out in a timely manner and not spend forever on it. Again, it remains to be seen if that will happen or not, but the fact that he's like, no, we're not going to take forever on this. Like,
yeah, that's reassuring.
So I do think it's possible it comes out before the KOTOR remake, though.
Probably,
based on everything we know about
because we don't know
so.
anything about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Metroid Prime, similar-ish game, genre, aesthetic, like that game, took a really long time, changed developers, and still came out as kind of like a mismatch, like hodgepodge of different developers' ideas and stuff like that, or that's what people are theorizing. So anyway, the next game came from some ex-Naughty Dog devs, so there's no hint that this game is really queer, but given that there are some ex-Naughty Dog devs working on it, it's possible there might be some element of queerness to it, but it was called Coven of the Chicken Foot. And I really couldn't get a read on this game other than you are an old lady with a dress, or a smock, I guess, maybe, like some kind of dress, and you can kind of float with the dress, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And you have like a robot or creature with you or something that's kind of like...
Looks a bit like a golem of some kind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it looked kind of fun. It's puzzle platformery. Yeah,
I'm way into this game. I saw the trailer and I was like, you take my money. This is going to be the game I'm going to be hyped for whatever it comes out. I believe I looked up I went to their website after just because I was curious about it, and I believe the player character's name is Gertie. I love her. I think it'll be fun. Because of the title, it makes me think it's going to be kind of like a mixture of like obviously there's going to be witches, but it's and Chickenfoot makes me think, oh, Baba Yaga is going to be some involvement with that kind of story. So yeah, I really like, I don't know. I feel like I don't even know how to describe this kind of story, but just this vibe is what I'm here for. I love it.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of explain it, but like if anyone's interested, just go look up Coven of the Chicken Foot trailer, and that's as weird as it sounds. Coven of the Chicken Foot, 5 words.
Yep.
Next up, though, we have we were talking about Wizards of the Coast briefly earlier. We've been talking about D&D and Baldur's Gate, but Wizards of the Coast seems to have licensed 2 new games, and I know people kind of might feel mixed about Wizards of the Coast based on how they've treated TTRPG players and creators in the last few years. But all that is to say is they have this new game called Exodus coming out, and I wasn't even going to mention it, but it is also coming from ex-Naughty Dog devs. I wonder how many people left Naughty Dog, and I wonder how many of those people were because of the multiplayer game that was being forced upon them by Sony. I'm not sure, because I think there was 2 or 3 games that were ex-Naughty Dog devs that I was just like, wow, that's a lot of... And there's also another game that I talked about earlier this year. I can't remember the name of it, but there was another ex-Naughty Dog dev game who actually, and the woman who working on that was queer, specifically. But this game is called Exodus. Exodus is a sci-fi action-adventure RPG, and I'm quoting from the description here, where you become the Traveler, leading humanity's fight for survival against the Celestials, not the Marvel ones. Face our evolution 40,000 years into the future, explore extraordinary worlds, and confront time itself to shape the fate of generations. The second game was called Warlock Dungeons & Dragons, and this one is probably a little more queer, but again, I know there was a big controversy with Wizards of the Coast the last few years, actually a bunch of controversies. We were talking about before the podcast that they changed the open game license a few years ago, and they backtracked, but it still left a lot of fans salty. And also there was the stuff with the Pinkertons with Magic the Gathering, and I think you also mentioned an AI scandal for one of the Avatar was Magic the Gathering cards, so...
Yeah, I couldn't confirm that, I can't confirm that fully, but I think that there was some, just some rumor about it, and maybe it was confirmed, but I do know that I'm pretty sure Wizards of the Coast have made a statement against AI, so it might have been a case where they just, if that did happen, it went under their radars by accident. But yeah, there's just been some, I feel like a lot of people who, a lot of fans of D&D and Magic, we have a love-hate relationship with Wizards of the Coast. So, cause the game's really fun and you can do a whole lot of really cool stuff that is very, unique and personal with your games. Especially, particularly with D&D. Magic I'm just getting into, but, Yeah, it's.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, I've
Best
already
of luck
bought
on your
packs.
journey.
I've already bought commander decks. I'm in it.
All right, well,
But
best of luck.
best of luck on my wallet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too. $500 for a deck in some cases. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That's why I stick to Pokemon.
yeah, I do enjoy it. But yeah, when my partner and I were watching this, yeah, Exodus like seemed kind of neat. But I wasn't maybe immediately drawn to it, but Warlock seemed more interesting to me. I imagine it's just like you're going on adventures as a warlock. But yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes. And I think like I'll definitely keep both on my radar. But especially warlock.
Yeah, I think given that Larian isn't going to make Baldur's Gate 4 and they don't have the license for it either.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is just Wizards of the Coast kind of throwing stuff at the wall to kind of just get something Baldur's Gate 3, like just trying to catch whoever wants more Baldur's Gate 3 but might be done with the game to kind of get more people interested.
Mm-hmm.
I think I also read, again, I don't have a source for this, but I feel like I read a rumor or something at some point that Hasbro, I think who owns Wizards of the Coast, was like desperately trying to find another developer to make Baldur's Gate 4 with how successful Baldur's Gate 3 was. But anyway, it remains to be seen if it'll be as successful. So everything else that was kind of revealed wasn't super queer. There were like a bunch of smaller things here. There is new music revealed from Sonic the Hedgehog and Cyberpunk Edgerunners that is being, it's going on Spotify. I don't know if Apple Music is getting it. I don't really understand what the promotion was, to be honest. I just saw there's new music from Sonic and Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I was like, cool, I guess. Like,
neat.
Happy for fans of that.
Yeah.
They try to explain Warframe, which is a very queer game, to casuals with a trailer. And I'll be honest, I still have no idea what they were trying to tell me with that trailer. It looked cool, but I still have... Cleo has explained it to me. I've read explanations. I've read descriptions. I've watched gameplay. I've seen this trailer. And I still have no idea what the heck is going on. And it's funny too, because it didn't really tell me why I should play the game, despite this really expensive trailer they paid for, I think $1 million for 3 minutes of airtime at the Gayme Awards. Also, they didn't say anything about when the Switch 2 version is coming, which I feel like if it's coming in early 2026, like they're planning, like, why wouldn't you at least remind people that it's still coming? Seems strange. I think I mentioned the Hogwarts Legacy thing. I mentioned the Girls Make Games thing. Yep. But if I have mixed feelings on Hogwarts Legacy. Like, I have strong feelings, mostly negative towards it. Not even if you take all the like transphobia for J.K. Rowling out of the whole thing. It's like kind of like a mid game. Like, it didn't get very good reviews despite getting good scores. Like, most of the reviews kind of said like it's mostly like a certain type of gameplay and it's not very well thought out. Like, there's only a very few spells you can use in your arsenal. However, it is technically a queer game. Apparently the devs weren't too involved with J.K. Rowling in it, and there is a trans woman in the game. I think her representation is pretty mixed, but she is played by a trans woman. So if this is something you want, until Thursday, the game is free on Epic Game Store, so at least you're not giving J.K. Rowling money directly. I will say, though, Epic did pay Warner Brothers Games to give this game out for free. So there's still, and I'm sure both Warner Brothers and Epic are monitoring the number of people that are claiming the game and playing it. So I do think there is still an aspect of giving money to J.K. Rowling in claiming this, but this is still the best cheap and legal way to get the game, if that is something you want, if it is still something you're interested in playing. Again, I won't judge you if you are. At this point, like, you know, there's the separate the art from the artist thing. I try to do that with most artists. I think J.K. Rowling has put too much of her transphobia and her misogyny into the Harry Potter stories. If you go back and read them, there's like little bits and things like the fact that the girls can go into the boys' dormitory, but the boys can't go into the girls' dormitory. Yeah. That reads to me as like very trans misogynist, given hindsight. The characters make fun of Hermione in one book calls out slavery, and everyone makes fun of her for calling out slavery. Stuff like that. Kingsley Shacklebolt as a name for the black character, not great.
Yeah. There's also
Cho Chang.
There's also like the Umbridge as a villain. Like, she's described with like mannish like features, and she is a villain. It's not that cool. So
yeah, she's very Hitler coded.
Yeah.
To not get into it too deeply, but she's very like, she hates the not the Minotaurs. What are they? The Centaurs. Yeah. She really, really hates the Centaurs and treats them as subhuman. And And I'm sure anyone who's watched the movies has seen some of this stuff, but it's much more prevalent in the books. The movies toned it down, and not because of it, I don't think. I think it's just because there was too much in the books to translate to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're watching the new series that's coming out, I think you're going to see a lot more of that stuff because there's going to be more time for them to dive into the BS of the books. So again, make an informed choice. It's your choice at the end of the day. But she does use her money directly to fund hate campaigns for trans women.
Yeah.
So also keep that in mind, where the money that she makes does go to fueling hate, whereas like some really bad people just like spend the money on themselves and don't actively try to make people's lives worse. So
yeah, well,
just do your homework.
And that's the thing, right? Like it's one of those things where like I know a lot of people, myself included, grew up with reading the books, watching the movies. Like, you know, we were young, we didn't know, right? Yeah, so we like enjoyed them for the most part. Like they were interesting, you know, magical adventures, but it's just been an increasing like bad taste in my mouth, like seeing posts from J.K. Rowling just like outright being like, oh haha, the bigots, like, or no, the people who are saying I'm a bigot or whatever, like, well, too bad, I've got money. Like she's just shoving it in their faces and then just still continuing to do her thing. So it's, I don't
people that in
like
England
her,
that speak out against her. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, oh no, I agree. Like that's it's not cool. So I think it's just her attitude on top of everything else is just not cool. So it always leaves a bad taste in my mouth, which is a shame because like it's, you know, they were stories that we grew up with. So it's yeah, up to you. Like, I mean, I would say if you do want to try the game, like we were saying, this is the best way to try it, like legally and for free, where it's like less, you know, like you're directly giving her money. But, yeah, half the time, like when I'm talking to my friends, like if anybody does want to play it, they're just like, yeah, we should, try to get it maybe legally.
Yeah, sail the high seas.
You know,
I don't condone piracy.
I know.
I especially don't condone piracy for indie games.
Yeah.
You should definitely pay for those games. But
please do. Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to outright say pirate it, but I will say, and this might come back to bite me one day. I don't know if it will or not, but I did claim it. I'm a little curious. Before all this stuff came out with J.K. Rowling, this game leaked that it was in development back in like 2018.
Yeah.
And at that point, she hadn't even gotten on that hate train yet. It wasn't really till the start of the pandemic that she started saying things.
Yeah, she was more public
back in
about
2018,
it.
I was like, yeah. And so an open world, Harry Potter game sounded great. I was like, as a, you know, nostalgia for Harry Potter. And it also, here's the thing too, is that like, I think she's made her money off it. Like, the game has done very well. There's a sequel in development. They canceled the DLC to fast track the sequel. Mm-hmm. Like, the ship has sailed.
Yeah.
So, I don't really think, or I guess to make it a more Harry Potter themed thing, the train has left the station. Mm-hmm. I don't think you claiming it is going to really really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's more for your own moral, ethical sense of how you feel.
Yeah.
I won't judge you if you claim it. Like, not that you worry about my judgment. Like, I claimed it. I'm curious, but also technically it's a queer game. Also, maybe I one day have to talk about something in it for the podcast. So I was like, you know what? At least I'm not paying any money out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. The checkbox of me claiming it probably does, make Epic pay out a little bit more to Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, it's the most they've probably ever spent on a game to give out for free, aside from GTA 5. Like, they probably gave tens of millions of dollars. Epic gave tens of millions of dollars to Warner Brothers games to give out the game for free, because there's going to be people who maybe were going to buy the game even on sale, who now won't because they're getting the game for free. So Epic does have to pay Warner Brothers to give out the game. So, and maybe the contract does say something like, and I don't know this for sure, but you know, if 20,000 people claim it and if there's a 20,001st person that claims it, you have to pay us for every extra thing over 20,000 claims or whatever.
Yeah.
There's no limit to it, but it's available till Thursday after this podcast comes out at 11 a.m. I think. And then after that, they're going to do their daily free games. Excuse me. And usually those are pretty good too. So, if you can brave the Epic Game Store launcher, there are games for you to play that are free.
Yeah.
I've only bought 2 games on Epic. The rest of them have been claimed for free.
Nice.
So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's our Harry Potter spiel. I was going to talk about this actually a year ago. I had when it came out, they were making the sequel. I was going to talk about this then, and I literally forgot I skipped over it in the notes. I was thinking Amy Lynn was on that week.
Yeah.
And I literally just when I scrolled, I think I literally accidentally scrolled past it. So I think it's better that the podcast is a little more established to kind of talk about this, but
that's fair.
Those are my thoughts on it. I think J.K. Rowling needs to shut the F up and take her billions and go away. If she's going to be a hateful person, I wish she'd just be quiet about it.
Yeah.
That's really all I wish. Because I don't think she's going to change her views.
No.
So, anyway, moving on, there's only 2 other small things here that kind of, Phasmophobia is getting a Switch 2 version. The game isn't queer, but it has a huge queer fan base. I remember there was a crap post a little while ago about someone's, Phasmophobia server for trans women or trans people. I'm not sure if it was trans women specific, but they called it transphobia as a server on Discord, which I thought was really, really cute.
So funny. I love that.
And I enjoy Phasmophobia. I really like it. I think Akemi, you and I have played with one of our other friends at times. And, I like to go around screaming the ghost's name and then running away and getting killed. That's my favorite part. So, and then there was a very, very, very brief Super Mario Galaxy movie trailer that continues on from where the last trailer left off with a fight between Bowser Jr., Mario, and Luigi as Bowser Jr. tries to get his miniaturized dad back. But it was so short. It was a nothing burger of a trailer. I was like, why is this here? Other than to market the movie.
Basically, yeah. I can't remember. Do we have a release date for that movie?
Yeah, sometime in April, I think. I think it's around roughly 3 years after the first one. Let me look this up, actually.
Oh, okay.
Super Mario Galaxy movie release date. And I think it says for Canada and the US, it's April 3rd. This is off the Wikipedia page. It's not cited, but April 3rd. And I don't know if the Japanese release is going to be later because I think last time it was almost the end of April when Japan got the first movie.
Yeah, it was a few weeks later. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Japan is April 24th.
Okay. Fair.
But it is getting Real D 3D, which is your standard 3D, but it's also going to be at IMAX, which is fun.
Nice.
Ekami, we're going to plan to go again together this time?
Yeah, sure.
Group of us?
It was fun. Yeah. I'll go again.
All right, let's get IMAX tickets this time. I think it'll be good. I'm hopeful that they don't bury Super Mario Sunshine too deep in there, but we'll see.
I'm just happy they're doing Galaxy. That's my favorite Mario game, probably. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Brie Larson as Rosalina.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that Bowser Jr. kind of has the paintbrush vibe. I hope he does do the Shadow Mario bit from Mario Sunshine at least. Yeah. Give me something from Mario Sunshine, please.
Just something.
Nintendo, I beg.
A little smidgen, please.
just, yeah. Please, sir, can I have some more?
Cheeses for the Mises, please.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's it. Is there anything from the TGAs or Day of the Devs that we didn't talk about that isn't queer but you're excited for?
There's a bunch of games, mostly from Day of the Devs. I wishlisted a bunch of games. There was, oh my gosh, there was one that I was especially looking forward to, and I'm not going to remember the name of it. I think, you know what, I think it's called Bistro, but it's BEAT.
Bistro.
Yeah. I love cooking games so much. And this just looks like a cute little mixture of hey, you like fantasy games? Do you like cozy cooking games? It's a good mixture of those two where you're a, oh, I don't remember what kind of cat you are, but you're like an anthropomorphic cat, chef who has a little tavern, little inn that you serve dishes at. And so travelers and adventurers and heroes will come in. And it seems like a cool mixture between you create a specific dish, which will give you flavor cards based on the type of dish that you make. And then you can use those cards in a card battler, part of the game. I think relating to having conversations with travelers. And then a traveler will go out, do their thing, and come back and tell you about their adventure. And it just looks really cute. I was just really impressed by that one, especially, I think.
So the premise of that game sounds very similar to another queer game I've talked about this year, and I'm trying to find the name of it. You'll have to forgive me, True Avatars. I have seen a lot of games this year. I've been through most of the showcases this year, and I found a lot of games that I've wishlisted them. And they're starting to bleed into the games I've wishlisted that I'm just interested in. And I really need to make a Steam profile that so I can just wishlist and keep track of just queer games. So I can keep them, so I know when a game doesn't have the tag, I know I added it to a queer list. But I'm trying to figure out, because there is like a game that's kind of like a Pokemon slash deck builder where you have to cook to keep monsters happy. And I'm not even sure if it's out already or if it's still coming out and like where in my wish list it is. But all I'll say is that my wish list as I'm scrolling through it is like, wow, there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you can always link it in the show notes if you find it.
Yeah, I could do that. I think I will, because I could be scrolling here for a long time. But the one game that I was really excited for from the TGAs, there were a bunch of games, but I think this is the one that I'm like really well, there's two actually. The first is Screamer, which comes from the Italian dev team Milestone that made the Hot Wheels Unleashed games. And they didn't get the license from Mattel back for a third Hot Wheels Unleashed game. Oh. So they're making another game that looks more like Speed Racer, and a mix of Speed Racer and Initial D. And even Redline a little bit, actually, Gayme. I know we've talked about that movie before. I do love that movie. But basically, it's a racing game where the cars look like F1 cars, but it's got like an animated, like almost like F-Zero style, like racing story, Speed Racer, F-Zero, like it's all anime style. And it's got that storyline through it too, and it looks really, really good. And it's getting a physical release, which makes me really happy because I was hoping it would. But also coming out next year in 2026. And Screamer comes out go check out the trailer if you're interested. Comes out in March, I think, like late March. The front half of the year is really loaded, like up until like April. There are so many games coming out because I think everyone is still a little bit like intimidated by GTA. And because GTA was really due out in May. So I think the year is just really front-loaded right now. I think some of these games are going to delay to spread out over the year until GTA comes out in November. But the other game I'm excited for, and I hope it comes out sooner in the year rather than later because I kind of need it, is Star Wars is making a new pod racing game called Galactic Racer.
Yes.
And it looks awesome.
Looks like so much fun. Yeah. Yeah, if anyone has played like the episode 1 pod racer game from N64, that was the vibe. Like, I remember watching it being like, oh, is it like another pod racing game? That's cool. It's not just the pod racers, like it's a bunch of different ships. But yeah, it looks like it's a lot of fun. And, I'm gonna mildly spoil, like, the ending of the trailer, but they do have a model for Sebulba, and I'm like, yes! Excellent. So, yeah. Yeah,
no, there weren't a ton of games in all the like showcases and stuff that I was like really hype on. I'd say, but the few games that I was really excited for, like I'm really, really, really excited for, like they're day one, like I have to play these the second they're available kind of games. So
actually, and there was one other one that stood out to me that I'm just remembering. It was also in the Day of the Devs. I wish there was a lot of Day of the Devs games. It was, it's called Myria, and it's from the developer who made, Jenny Leclue Detective, which I still also have to play. I have it on Switch, but Myria is a 3D puzzle, kind of game, which is based on the premise of like Spot the Difference. Like that's your main gameplay, but you're looking at a 3-dimensional, environment, and you can go between like, basically you kind of go underwater in a way to see like the reflection, and it has to match what's above. But you can interact with it. You can click things to like turn lights on, and it looks very, very calming. And very different from Jenny Leclue, because Jenny Leclue was like a 2D, mystery game, I think. So, yeah, I think that will be really fun too. I don't remember when that one's coming out, but.
What was the name of it? I can just
Myria, Mirria.
Oh, yes. I think I do remember looking this one up, actually. Yes, I do remember. And it does not have a release date. On Steam, it just says to be announced.
Fair.
But it does look very atmospheric. I like the color coding of each world here.
Yeah, that was neat. Cool. Yeah.
Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of the show. Do you have any other thoughts or feelings, anything else you want to talk about before we kind of wrap up for the day, for the week?
I thought that the Gayme Awards were like fun. Like I was surprised that there wasn't really any parts where I was like cringing, which is kind of rare. I feel like there's always something that happens with these shows.
The Miss Piggy stuff had me cringing.
I loved it. I also loved Miss Piggy.
That's fair. I've always kind of cringed with her though. She feels like she feels, I don't know, like, not, anyway, I don't want to be weird about it, but like, yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. She's just something off-putting about her. Yeah.
And I wish listed, as I said, a bunch of games from Day of the Devs. I'm going to watch the Wholesome Game Direct because I forgot to watch that. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty good award show. Yeah.
Oh, and one quick thing too is if you're into Resident Evil, they finally revealed that Leon is a playable character.
Yes.
In Resident Evil Requiem, which I'm very excited for because he somehow looks even hotter than before.
Oh yeah, and he's got that well-aged, like almost Silver Fox look. I like it.
Yeah, he looks very grizzled too. Like he's seen enough crap in his lifetime, and he's a little unshaved this time, and he's just I'm like really into it.
Yeah,
really into it.
I will say too, I remember watching that, and at first I was like, Leon, that's great, and then I got a little concerned because I was like, oh no, does that mean that the girl's gonna get overshadowed because everybody loves Leon? So it's gonna be, but then they revealed that it's gonna be 2 playthroughs. So there's Leon's playthrough, and then there's I think her name is Grace's playthrough.
Grace Ashcroft, yeah.
Yeah. So that made me feel better. And I haven't played the Resident Evil games, but I've seen a lot of playthroughs of them, so probably I'll end up watching a playthrough of this one too. But yeah.
That's fair. The thing I like about Leon being in it is, first off, he's playable, which you can't say about Chris from the last 2 games. Like, people say there's a section with Chris being playable in Resident Evil 8 and Village. I don't remember it. I played through Village, like the whole thing, the DLC. Oh. I don't remember playing as Chris ever. Oh. Like, so if he's playable, it was forgettable. But what I like about Leon being playable is, first off, yes, like it's 2 different kind of playthroughs, or at least sections of the game where you're playing as Leon versus Grace, but also Leon is like the Resident Evil 4 style of gameplay where it's like you're like hacking up monsters and stuff like that. Whereas Grace Ashcroft is like the creepy haunted house stuff where you're like scared around every corner. So you're kind of getting like both styles of Resident Evil games in one. Mm-hmm. And it also takes place in the classic like Raccoon City environments.
Yes.
So you're getting like a little bit of like everything. There's like lots of tie-ins and stuff. And it seems like it's back to kind of more traditional Resident Evil instead of like the kind of, Biohazard and Village style of like, there was just a little bit different. It's good still, mind you, but a little bit different and inconsistent. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. Anyway, we are at our 75-minute allotment that I gave us for today because I was just want to keep it cozy and keep it kind of contained. But I was glad to have a guest this year because last year I did the Gayme Awards alone and I was kind of just monologuing and rambling. So thank you so much for joining me, Ekami. Where can people find you on social media if they would like to follow you?
Of course. Thank you for having me.
In a non-creepy way.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube and Twitch at just Ekami, Ekamy. I'm also on Blue Sky and Instagram, and the Instagram just has an underscore before and at the end of my name.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. That pretty much wraps up the show. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in 2 days for our pre-recorded Queer in Review episode. But yeah, take care until then.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
And that just about wraps up this week's show. Thanks, True Avatars, for joining me for another episode of your Queer Video Game Podcast. By listening to the show, you are supporting queer-made content, which is more important than ever. If you want to support True Avatars, it would be really great if you could leave a comment, rating, or review on your preferred podcast platform. You can follow the show on Blue Sky, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube under the handle @TrueAvatars, all one word, and on Facebook and Instagram under True Avatars. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell so you can be the first to know when new content drops. I welcome you to check out the official website, trueavatarspodcast.com. That's all one word, trueavatarspodcast.com. On the website, you can sign up for the newsletter, where you can get exclusive news and updates on the show. Bye, True Avatars. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking with you all again next week. Take care and stay safe.